The throne room stretched before them like a cathedral of nightmare geometry. Johnny stood perfectly still, her hands bound behind her back with energy restraints that hummed against her wrists. Beside her, Colin's breathing was measured, controlled, the kind of calm that only came from years of training, or absolute terror masquerading as courage. Queen Velshara descended from her crystalline throne, her 6 limbs flowing like water over stone. Her carapace gleamed obsidian black under the bioluminescent ceiling, and her compound eyes fractured Johnny's reflection into 1,000 terrified copies. Humans, the queen hissed, her mandibles clicking with amusement. So fragile, so quiet. She circled them slowly, her antennae twitching. Your ship was easy prey, your weapons primitive, and now, here you stand in my court, silent as the void itself. Johnny met the queen's gaze without flinching. She'd been trained for this, for capture, for interrogation, for the moment when everything would depend on absolute stillness, nothing to say. Velshara leaned closer, her breath carrying the scent of copper and ozone. No pleas for mercy, no bargaining. How disappointingly dull. She turned to her court of lesser Velkari, their chittering laughter echoing through the chamber. The mighty human empire sends us mutes. Callan shifted slightly beside Johnny. She caught the movement from her peripheral vision, a warning. Not yet. They'd been partners for 3 years, long enough to communicate in glances and the subtle language of shared danger. The queen noticed. Ah, the male has some fire. Perhaps we'll start with him. Her serrated claw extended toward Colin's throat. Wait. Johnny's voice cut through the chamber, clear and unwavering. Velshara froze, then laughed, a sound like breaking glass. She speaks. Finally, some entertainment. Tell me, human, what makes you break your silence now? Fear for your companion? No, Johnny said simply. Timing. The queen's antennae went rigid. Timing. You asked why we're so quiet. Johnny's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. You assumed it was fear, weakness, but you've never fought humans before, have you, Your Majesty? Not really. You've raided colony ships, captured exploration vessels, picked off the stragglers at the edge of known space. Velshara's claws flexed. Careful, prey. We're not prey. Johnny's voice hardened. We're the bait. The queen reared back slightly. Explain yourself before you what? Kill us, Johnny interrupted. That would be unwise. See, humans learned something a long time ago, back on our homeworld. When you're not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most naturally armed species, you learn patience. You learn to be quiet, not because you're weak, but because you're waiting. Waiting for what? Velshara demanded, though uncertainty crept into her voice. For you to bring us exactly where we needed to be. Johnny glanced up at the vaulted ceiling, at the intricate bioorganic architecture that housed the Velkari hive mind nexus. Your throne world, the heart of your empire, the one place you'd never let enemies reach, unless they seemed too pathetic to be a threat. Callan finally spoke, his voice steady. 68 seconds. The queen's court erupted in confused chittering. Velshara's mandibles spread wide. What game is this? No game, Johnny said. When your raiders took our ship, you did exactly what we predicted. You scanned us for weapons, found none. Scanned for explosives, found none. Even scanned for biological agents. But you know what you can't scan for. The chamber lights flickered. 50 seconds, Callan announced. Subatomic quantum entanglement. Johnny continued. See, I've been very quiet because I've been counting. Counting my heartbeats. Counting my breaths. Each one synchronized perfectly with a quantum particle we've been carrying in our bloodstream. Modified by human scientists who understood something fundamental about the universe. Velshara lunged forward. Guards, execute them. Too late. Johnny's eyes never left the queen's. Those particles have been communicating with our fleet this entire time, broadcasting the exact coordinates of your throne world through a network you can't detect, can't jam, can't stop. And the beautiful part, the transmission completes when my heart rate reaches a specific threshold. 30 seconds. Callan said. The queen's claws wrapped around Johnny's throat. Then I'll stop your heart right now. Johnny smiled despite the pressure cutting off her air. That would also trigger it. The particles are tied to my life signs. Stop my heart or let it race, either way, we win. Velshara threw her back, whirling to face her cowering court. Shields! Raise the planetary shields! Activate all defense! The lights died completely. In the darkness, Johnny heard the Queen's panicked voice. What's happening? 15 seconds, Callan whispered. They're already here. Through the crystalline walls of the throne room, stars appeared, but they weren't stars. They were hundreds of human dreadnoughts dropping out of faster-than-light travel, their running lights blazing in perfect formation round the Valkyrie homeworld. 10 seconds. Emergency lighting bathed the chamber in crimson. Queen Velshara collapsed against her throne, her compound eyes fixed on the impossible sight above. An entire fleet. How did you? I told you, Johnny said, rubbing her throat as Callan worked to disable their restraints. We're quiet because we're patient, because we're willing to sacrifice, because when you're human, you learn to turn every weakness into a weapon. 5 seconds. The Queen looked at her, and for the first time, Johnny saw something beyond arrogance in those fractured eyes. She saw understanding, fear, respect. You were never our captives, Velshara whispered. No. Johnny agreed. You were ours. The restraints fell away. Callan handed Johnny a communicator that materialized from his sleeve hidden. In plain sight all along, 0. He said. Johnny activated the comm. Captain Shen, this is Lieutenant Johnny Reeves. Package delivered. Target acquired. Commence Operation Silent Thunder. Copy that, Lieutenant. Welcome home. As the human fleet moved into position and the Valkyrie defenses crumbled under the coordinated assault, Queen Velshara remained frozen on her throne. The predator had become the prey, and she'd invited them right through her front door. Johnny looked back one final time as extraction teams materialized around them. You mocked our silence, Your Majesty. But silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's just the sound of a trap closing. The last thing the Queen heard before the throne room filled with human soldiers was Johnny's quiet laughter and the echo of her own fatal mistake.